Welcome back inside of the Dynasty Draft Room. This is the Draft Seminar. I'm your host, Matt Hicks, the FF Educator, joined, as always, by John Lobb, the Gridiron Scholar. John, today we're talking about one of my favorite quarterbacks in this draft class. That's Jacob Eason, the quarterback out of Washington. A little bit, I will say, a controversial draft prospect, let's say. I think you're polarizing might be the way to say it. You're kind of either in on Eason or you're not. I'll tell you, John, I'm in on him, and we're going to get into why. But how do you feel about Jacob Eason, the quarterback out of Washington?
You know, Matt, I watched him play a lot of football at Washington last year, and every time I watched a game, I left wanting more. So I am not on hashtag Jacob Eason. I have him lower down my rankings than other people, but I do see the physical traits that one NFL team might fall in love with. And let's look at him. In 2015, he was named Gatorade National Player of the Year and USA Today All-American Offensive Player of the Year as a senior in high school. He enrolls at Georgia, and he started 12 games as a true freshman, passing for over 2,400 yards and 16 touchdowns. And I remember watching those games and thinking that this young man has a great and bright future ahead of him. But in 2017, he suffered a season-ending knee injury in the first game, and he eventually lost the job to Jake Fromm. Now, he transferred to Washington, and he was willing to redshirt the entire 2018 campaign behind Jake Browning. Last year, he passed for 132 yards and 23 touchdowns. After one season in Seattle, Washington, he declares for the NFL draft. I wish he had stayed for another season. I really think he needed the experience and he needed to work on some of the flaws in his game. Now, NFL organizations and many people like him more than my film study and production model indicate. Matt, I know you said you like him, so convince me on what you like about Jacob Eason.
Yeah, John, I will say for me, Jacob Eason, although not a perfect product, has all of the things that you want and is moldable in the ways that NFL coaches want players to be moldable. He has the Pro Bowl caliber arm strength. He has the NFL-ready mechanics. Now, he needs to work on the mental part of the game, and once he does that, I think he'll be a much more polished product. So for me, Jacob Eason, although not perfect, once we get past this first tier of quarterbacks, he's the guy I want because I think he is the most moldable and he has the highest upside, even compared to some of the guys who have flashier names in this draft class like Jordan Love. But with that being said, John, why don't we go ahead and jump into the numbers a little bit. You mentioned here sometime at Georgia, sometime at Washington. So how do those numbers come together and add up to what you're looking for when looking for success at the next level at the quarterback position?
So the first thing, after watching film all season of him, when I started my process in January, I wanted to look at his career numbers. And right away, jumped off the page, he did not exceed one benchmark stat, Matt, in my 5 categories. He only played in 26 games with 24 starts. His passing efficiency was 132.2, completion percentage 59.8, yards per attempt 7.1. Now that to me was fascinating because people say he has a bigger and better arm, which he does on film, than Jacob Fromm, but he's not throwing the ball down the field as often as Jacob Fromm. His touchdown to interception ratio, a pedestrian 39-16. He doesn't come close to my 3-to-1 benchmark. Career rushing yards, 125. Now, that's relative because he took too many sacks and he loses rushing yards when you get sacked at the college level. So my escapability score, I gave him a D+. He doesn't do very well. He gets confused, in my opinion, when the pocket gets muddy. I have a 3rd-round grade on him. I know I'm low on him, but Matt, what is the film? What do you say about Jacob Eason?
Yeah, John, let's go ahead and jump into that film breakdown now for Jacob Eason, the quarterback out of the University of Washington. We're going to go ahead and get going here against their rival Washington State, and it's going to show off his arm strength. You could see here from his own 25-yard line down to Washington State's 20-yard line, and he makes it look easy, man. He's got a big arm. I find him creative despite limited mobility. You can see here he rolls out of the pocket against Boise State, recenters his body. He makes sure his feet are always set before he throws the ball, gets it to the back corner of the end zone. I pulled this play specifically because it shows his competitive toughness here. You can see against Arizona, he rolls out and he gets nailed on this play, but he stands his ground. He keeps the throw on track here, and he gets the play done, and it's an important play in the red zone. He is a competitor, and he leads his receivers very well here. Again, another deep pass. He throws the ball from his own 40 to the 10-yard line with ease. I mean, he's not even cranking back. He's not making it look difficult at all. He has a next-level arm, John. He needs to work on some of the decision-making, some of these other parts of his game, but overall, he has some traits that really give him a high ceiling.
Matt, I couldn't agree with you more. There are traits that could, if everything works out with good coaching, he grasps the mental aspect, he embraces the quarterback position in the NFL, being a leader and being the head of the organization. I can see the ceiling there. Hey, he's 6'6", 231 pounds. Premier pocket passer with stupendous size and astounding arm strength, with you showed us on the film there. He's got broad shoulders on a big frame. He can take a hit. He's got impressive velocity. Ball explodes out of his hand, and he fits passes into minuscule holes. He stretches the field vertically, and he throws a very catchable deep ball. He played in 2 different pro-style schemes. He's below average pocket mobility, in my opinion. He does not gain yards with his legs. That bothers me. He falls apart in a muddy pocket. When blitzers are around him and defenders are in his face, his passing rating by Pro Football Focus was terrible. He really does not do well, and I'm afraid that early in his career, defensive coordinators are going to blitz the heck out of this young man. What I also see, he has average anticipation. He makes too many ill-advised throws, and he relies on his arm strength. He knows he has a terrific arm, and he's going to count on it. He must learn to throw touch passes, not just fastballs. Matt, incredible ceiling. You nailed it. But he also has a very low floor, so we have a wide spectrum of outcomes for this young man.
Absolutely. And John, here at the Dynasty Draft Room, we have him graded out at an 82.2. That is a consensus grading from 3 different analysts. That gives him a mid-level starter projection for us. We love the arm strength. We love him in the pocket. He has NFL-ready mechanics, and he can hit his guy at all 3 levels of the field. You can find all of John's fantasy football rookie profiles at footballdiehards.com. And John is on Twitter at Gridiron, SCHOL 91. I'm on Twitter at the FF_educator. You can find all my work at dynastydraftroom.com, and that does include the 2020 Fantasy Football Rookie Guide, which is now available for download. 91 full player profiles, chock full of information similar to what we've given you today for Jacob Eason, but even more. Class is over. Pencils down. Thanks for listening.